Chadian forces drive Boko Haram militants out of a northern Nigerian border town. A sizzling new Congolese music video by Fabregas. And the world-famous commercials that sent Facebook and Twitter abuzz during America's biggest sports event. Africa 54 starts right now. Hello and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. First to West Africa. Troops from Chad have driven Boko Haram fighters from a northern Nigerian border town seized by the Islamist militants late last year. Military sources stationed in neighboring Niger said on Thursday. Nigeria's defense headquarters tweeted that Nigerian Air Force aircrafts had been involved in 2 days of air operations over the town, but did not directly acknowledge the presence of Chadian troops or confirm that the town of Malam Fatori had been retaken. Well, Chad's involvement in retaking the town comes as the regional military heavyweight assumes an increasingly aggressive role in combating the militants, and regional leaders weigh in on new options for containing the movement's spread. Boko Haram, which has killed thousands in its struggle to create an Islamic state in northern Nigeria, seized the town of Malam Fatori in November, sending government soldiers stationed there fleeing across the nearby border into Niger. Well, now for more on the situation in Nigeria, we are joined by Leo Kayan. He is the chief of Voice of America's House of Service. First, Leo, kind of shed some light on this story that has been developing since yesterday. Who really went into this part of northern Nigeria?
Yeah, we are in a kind of a state of operational flux at the moment because if you know the topography very well, you'll understand that Malam Fatori is closer to Niger than the Nigerian towns. And that's a border town that has played key roles in the past. It's an area that was controlled by the joint military headquarters in Baga before it fell to the hands of Boko Haram. So what we are seeing now is the effort by Nigeria to accept for the first time operations by military coming from the Chadian, the Nigerian, and the Cameroonians. So what you're seeing now is the aerial bombardment by Nigeria, ground attacks by Chadians and Nigerian soldiers, and I believe that is the beginning of the joint operation in real sense.
So in a way, of course, this threw everybody off because people thought that the Chadian troops just invaded another country's sovereign space.
No, what people don't understand is that there's a standing protocol already on ground between Nigeria, Chad, Niger, on that joint military post in Baga before. I don't think they need any new protocol or laws to allow them come in. But in case this is going to be updated, fine. But I think it's proper and correct that they did that.
Your thoughts quickly on now the other voices we're hearing from the African Union about, kind of beefing up this multinational
Yeah, we woke up to a loud ovation this morning of hope from people in Maiduguri, Yobe, and Adamawa states saying that, well, at last there's somebody that's coming to help us out because the Nigerian soldiers have clearly shown that they cannot, and this joint task force has not come to that area yet. So these 7,500 forces added to the ECOWAS thinking of sending another force, plus the 4 countries that are involved in this, would make a difference, I believe.
Well, we'll take some time to kind of get a sense of what that is all going to be like.
But at least it's better than, hopeless situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Leo, for joining us on Africa 54. Well, Leo Kayan is the chief of VOA's House of Service. Well, the African Union is holding its annual summit in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, Friday, with security and healthcare among the top agenda items. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon highlighted the security concerns when he renewed his call for the immediate release of dozens of Nigerian girls kidnapped by Boko Haram terrorists nearly a year ago.
Terrorism knows no boundaries and affects African countries in the Horn, the Sahel, and elsewhere. No grievances or cause justifies terror. At the same time, let us remember that counter-terror efforts that fail to respect human rights can make the problem worse.
Well, Mr. Ban also called on the African leaders to avoid making undemocratic changes to their constitutions solely for the sake of extending their terms. Well, for more perspective, we are joined on the phone from Addis Ababa by Erastus Mwencha, the Deputy Chairman of the African Union Commission. Mr. Mwencha, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much.
It's such a big day in Addis Ababa. Now, tell us a little bit about the agenda and how Boko Haram especially was handled by the summit there.
Well, first of all, on the agenda, this summit, first of all, is under the theme of empowerment of women. And also, we have had discussions, and the leaders have adopted what we call Agenda 2063 as a framework for Africa's development, socio-economic development. The leaders have also exchanged views on the various areas of peace and security challenges, and that is how Boko Haram comes in. Of course, as Africa, we condemn this phenomenon of extremism and radicalization, but also the way these terrorists are operating. I mean, you mentioned the case of Boko Haram. We have Al-Shabaab, we have Al-Qaeda, and many, many other such movements. Mm-hmm. So as a continent and the discussions with Mr. Ban Ki-moon, we are trying to see how we can work with the international community within Africa to try and see how we can engage and also develop counter-terrorism mechanisms.
Now, very quickly, Mr. Mwencha, you know, the African Union is often accused of being ineffective. How can you reassure our viewers that you have some concrete strategies and plans to tackle, particularly insecurity on the continent?
Well, first of all, let's look at Al-Shabaab, which is very much associated with Al-Qaeda or even ISIS. We in Africa took it as our own challenge, and we have put boots on the ground. And if you look at the efforts of the last 3-4 years, we've been able to decapitate Al-Shabaab quite significantly. So yes, we can have strategies, and we do have that resolve to do that. On a wider scale, looking at the issue of peace and security, I don't know what you may call being ineffective, because if you look at Africa today, it's not Africa of 10 years ago. 90% of the population now live in areas of peace and security. We know we still have 10%. 10% is still too much. But if you look at 10 years ago, you would have perhaps stopped off 60%. So we're making gains. And those gains come in various areas. They come because we have strong mechanism for intervention. They come because Africa is also expanding in areas of economic development, but also they come because there is strong ownership and resolve of the leaders of Africa to tackle those challenges.
Well, Mr. Mwencha, we'll definitely call on you to kind of tell us a little more after all is done and said. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Erastus Mwencha is the Deputy Chairman of the African Union Commission in Addis Ababa. Well, on the one other significant development is the election of Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe as the next chairman of the African Union. On the eve of the summit, Mr. Mugabe spoke to VOA's Zimbabwe service reporter Sandra Nyaira, and Sandra now joins us on the phone from Addis Ababa. Sandra, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, the phone might not be so clear, but I know you had a very clear interview with President Mugabe. First, tell us, how did you manage even to pin him down with an interview?
I think there's something that you call luck. I was just blessed that I happened to be walking into a press conference that had been called by the African Union Commission on NEPAD. That Mr. Mugabe had been attending the heads of state in meeting. 20 heads of state and government were meeting in a meeting for NEPAD to discuss issues around NEPAD, how to fund Africa's development projects, how to empower women, and related issues. And so as we were walking in as journalists, Mr. Mugabe was in. Most of the leaders were walking out. They were walking out using one exit, and we were entering using the door. So when I saw him, I just approached him and asked him the question, Mr. Mugabe, you are going to assume the chairmanship of the African Union. What are you going to do in terms of uplifting and empowering women, since this is the theme for the AU for this summit and this year? And then he started responding. That's how I got it. I was very lucky that I found him.
Now,
before
he
left the room.
he said some things that have become a little controversial about what he thinks about equality between men and women. Can you just briefly tell us how he responded to those questions about women and equality?
Oh yes, Mr. Mugabe said he doesn't think that women and men can ever be at an equal basis. We can never be at par simply because women bear children, they get married, and men give them babies. So as a result, women tend to look more towards looking after their children, looking after their families. As a result, we don't have as many women, who are married in politics. There are a few, he said, but not as many as, people would want. And as a result, you have single women going into politics. It was a bit controversial, of course, but, looking at his age and where his era, that's a very patriarchal era where men still look at women as, belonging to the kitchen and doing lesser jobs than men. So that's what I, took away from his statement, that, women can never be at par with men.
What an odd statement at a time when the AU is supposed to be talking about women empowerment. Sandra, thank you very much for joining us from Addis Ababa. Sandra Nyaira of VOA's Zimbabwe service. Well, also happening in Addis Ababa, talks on South Sudan's future. So far, there is no deal to end more than a year of fighting in that country. While the rival sides have agreed in principle to establish a transitional government, they have yet to reach consensus on the distribution of power. For some perspectives on the peace efforts, I am joined by Mr. Pagan Amum. He's the former Secretary General of the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, SPLM. Mr. Amum, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and I know that you have had such a bumpy year. First, give us your thoughts on the point where the talks are in Addis Ababa. As they suspended yesterday, nothing seemed to have been achieved. What is the major roadblock?
For us in South Sudan, what is happening, the civil war, the devastating civil war that is taking place, is destroying South Sudan. This war must be brought to an end and must be made to stop. And the IGAD countries will need the support of the African Union and the international community to bring pressures to bear on the leaders of the warring parties so that they sign a peace agreement. Mm-hmm. And at this present moment, it is now time to stop this war, including by imposing an agreement that South Sudanese can live with.
Yeah, now, most people are getting tired
Yes.
of the South Sudanese leaders actually calling on the world to come and help. What is making it very difficult? And I'm asking you as a person who has been part of the system, very difficult for these men and women who fought together to liberate their region. What is making it difficult for them to see sense and wisdom in actually agreeing to stop the mess?
The difficulty is stemming out from lack of political will to see the national interests of South Sudan, and that is ending this war and taking South Sudan to peace and democracy. And it boils down to power struggle. It boils down to issues of power sharing. And I believe the common sense is that you form a government of national unity that is inclusive of all the political forces in the country, with an inclusive participation, deconcentrate power.
Let's take it back. This all began actually at the party level.
Yes.
And you were the Secretary General of the party.
Yes.
So how did things get here? And you are the guy in charge.
I'm not the chair and the leader of the party.
But you're the Secretary General.
I'm the Secretary General, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I was the chief administrative officer.
Yes.
And where it went wrong was the leadership of SPLM, the president, the chairman of the SPLM, his vice president, two deputy chairs, the secretary general, political bureau, all of us, we have lost direction and we have lost the vision. And when voices within the party, some of us started to speak that we have gone in a wrong direction and there is need to correct ourselves and there is need to return to the vision of our late founding father, Dr. John Garang de Maubior. This resulted into debate, and violence was introduced by the share of the party to attempt to silence the voices that were calling for reform and change and correction. This is where we have gone wrong.
Now, some have also blamed you for some of the mess in the party, including there were some investigations that suggested millions of dollars disappeared and you were in charge of the party.
This is not true. These allegations and accusations and blames to me and many others are politically motivated. It's all not true. I have been in the country. Investigations have been made on those false accusations, and it has been proven that there is nothing like that.
Well,
and again, also, I have taken those who have accused me to court in Juba, and I won the case, and they were fined for defamation.
Thank you. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining us today,
You're most welcome.
Mr. Amom.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Pagan Amom is the former Secretary General of the South Sudanese Liberation Movement. That's in South Sudan. Well, we want to know now what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, the music of Congolese Fabregas and America's biggest sports event. It's not just about football. Stay with us.
I wanted to present music and a side of American culture that is most important to me, that is a part of who I am. They're going to get some incredible performances. That's one of the things I love, bringing these artists in so you can get to see them do what they do. It's soul music, and that's what music is. It's that which comes from the soul.
Welcome back. It's Music Make It Time, and today we feature Fabregas with this fabulous video, Mascara. Let's get a listening and enjoy it.
Bruno Tandake de marque. Onia Rosa, Mama Rosa, sans mascara. Chérie, na yebote naturel, kitoko ya mascara. Chérie, na yebote naturel, kitoko ya mascara. Dani Wani, Kene Bumba Armelu. Kelly Babouti DJ Meblen a tué Jibo Koko no Kudai Ratakate Jennifer Lito, maman, je te jure Avanzel la guitare, ça va comment reprendre la faune d'Assine à mi belle Christo Pac, corps présidentiel Héritier Cinnamon, FBA, Kumbanga Malou Yadadi Balai Dadi Balek Dr. Serge Amasso
Well, Mascara by Fabregas. Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54. Super Bowl Sunday is not just for the players, it's also big for advertisers and social media. We'll be right back.
I have decided to place Mr. Lecoq on parole.
Let's take it.
Le Fonds monétaire international, qui a été un partenaire du Sénégal depuis maintenant 50 ans, sera à nouveau à votre demande.
I take care of the little kids.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. Ooh la la. Kendall Jenner, Kim Kardashian's 19-year-old sister, showed some serious skin modeling in Chanel's Paris Fashion Week show. Lucky, Kendall is Chanel's creative director Karl Lagerfeld's new protege. Momager Kris Jenner was in the front row showing her support, but the budding supermodel doesn't want all her shows to turn into a family affair. Kendall says that while Kim is often invited to a lot of the shows she's modeling in, she doesn't necessarily want her there. Kendall and Kris later met with a crush, a photographer, at the airport as they jetted out of Paris. While staying in Paris, from the runway to the showroom, sleek beauties come in all shapes and sizes. 25 concept cars and production models are on show as part of the International Automobile Festival in Paris. The top trends here are connectivity, sleek design, and fuel efficiency. Among the companies going cutting edge is BMW, which is showcasing a two-seater roadster concept car full of technological innovations. The BMW Vision Connect Drive concept claims to offer connectivity, infotainment, and safety features to enhance the driver's experience. Mercedes is exhibiting a yellow sports car with an arched roofline and frameless doors, matched with sculpted tapering sidewalls add to the sense of speed the car makers intend to convey. Now, the exhibit runs through February the 1st. Well, and finally, troubled actress Lindsay Lohan is back in the news. Prosecutors are indignant over the revelation Lindsay's community service organization let her do unusual things to fulfill her obligation, like getting 18 hours credit for meeting and greeting fans after her London play. She also got 70 hours credit for allowing young people to follow her around for work shadowing experience. Prosecutor Terry White wants Lindsay to do jail time, but Lindsay's lawyer told the judge her client merely did what she was told to do by the community service organization. And that is what is trending today. Well, Super Bowl Sunday is about more than just the NFL's American Football Championship and big parties to watch the game. Well, viewers also tune in for the world-famous commercials that send Facebook and Twitter abuzz. Daniela Schreier reports on the social media rewards for America's priciest advertising.
With an estimated 113 million domestic viewers, Super Bowl is the biggest day in American advertising.
Follow Budweiser on Twitter this Super Bowl season for updates.
Increasingly, it is also one of the busiest days online, with social media exploding over ads that flopped or scored big.
I don't think Budweiser can tell you that the puppy ad sells more beer the day after the Super Bowl, but what they would tell you is it makes a deep emotional connection.
A 30-second ad costs a whopping $4.5 million. That's the most expensive in history. That level of investment demands social media returns, says Adweek's James Cooper in a Skype interview.
If you can tease or release your spot onto YouTube, you can get a lot of social chatter even before the game kicks off. Some of these pre-released ads and teasers get millions of hits on YouTube and create a lot of buzz, and that is a way for them to justify the cost.
Bud Light's pre-released real-life Pac-Man spot already has millions of views. Lexus is touting its new hybrid, and Victoria's Secret is showcasing its world-famous Angels. Both companies released their ads in advance of the big game. Both are hoping for social media traction. In addition to Super Bowl regulars like Doritos, Sunday's ads will feature some online upstarts. Wix, a free online website builder, is betting big, as is internet news site and social media darling BuzzFeed.
Native and social is part of BuzzFeed's DNA. They're very, very good at it. That's where they're born. But they also want to expand themselves into a sort of larger media context. And obviously the best way to do that is to be part of the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl is a global sporting event broadcast to more than 225 countries and streaming on devices worldwide. That means the splashy ads and the attention they garner online will ripple far beyond U.S. shores. Daniela Schreier, VOA News, New York.
Well, and that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC, and in the mornings to Daybreak Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching. From all of us in Washington, have a good night.
Welcome to the Voice of America's News Words, where we teach you about words in the news. This is a word you often hear in stories about violence or war.
Here's White House spokesman Jay Carney talking about whether more U.S. troops could stop the violence in Iraq.
There was sectarian conflict, violent sectarian conflict in Iraq when there were 150,000 U.S. troops on the ground there.
Sectarian means something to do with groups or sects. Sectarian violence is when different groups fight each other or against a government.
Sects can be based on religious, ethnic, or cultural beliefs. Now, when you hear the word sectarian,
you will know what this news word means.